fishing, loving every day. That's a prayer that a country boy prays. Thank God he made me this way. Hunting, fishing, loving every day.
Hey, Mike here with Mike's Walleye Rigs. I wanted to talk to you today about worm harnesses. There's a lot of different styles of worm harnesses out there, from your traditional double willow leaf to the newer styles of spoon harnesses and worm harnesses connected to spoons and smile blades, slow death hooks. There's just a lot of different things out there, and wanted to give you an idea of when we use each style. We use a lot of different things here at Mike's Walleye Rigs, but so let's get at it here. We won't start running worm harnesses until the water hits around 50, 55 degrees in the spring, and kind of inversely in the fall when it starts getting cold. We'll stop using worm harnesses somewhere in the 60s. It seems like the worm harness bite ends quicker than it starts. So we're going to start the season off. We're going to run smile blade harnesses, and these things will run in really, really slow speeds, like quarter mile an hour. This particular one, it has a slow death hook on it. And you put like a half a night crawler on that, and you can troll it. You can troll it to regular trolling speeds up to probably 2 miles an hour, but it works really great at like 1 mile an hour, 1.5 miles an hour. We'll run these behind bottom bouncers and inline weights, that kind of stuff. And we actually do make that same harness with a double hook rig. Like these double hook rigs, they work the same way. They don't have quite as much action as, say, the slow death does, but there's some guys are afraid of those slow death hooks, afraid they're going to straighten out. Actually, if you're running them in shallow lakes and shallow water, that slow death hook, if you hang that up in the bottom of a lake in a log or a rock, you can, with probably 10-pound test, you could straighten that hook out and save your whole rig, and then just put it back together. So we're going to run them smile blades early in the year. It's going to be we're going to load up probably first of the season, and they work great. Like I said, they work really good slow speed, so they're great drifting. And with these smile blades and with most of my harnesses, you're going to see they're tied short. They're not. I don't tie them real long. They're about 8 inches long from the front to the back, and it'd be hard to see here. Here, that's a swivel on the end of it. It's a little number 10 Pro swivel. Buy them the same way you do, and this is the lightest swivel I could find. And the beauty of these being tied short is no matter what kind of rig you're running, whether you're, say, running Lindy rigs, bottom bouncers, or running a harness behind a jet diver or a dipsy diver or something like that, is you can put whatever leader on there you want, whatever leader length, and just makes them a lot simpler and very versatile. If you're a guy that like me likes to rig fish a lot with like Lindy rigs, and same boat, and you're out there running dipsy divers, you don't have to be carrying 2 different types of harnesses for them. And they package up in these little 2x3 packages. You could throw like over 100 of those in the deeper style Plano boxes. I'll actually put a link to those Plano boxes in the comments. So we'll go out of as lake water warms up, 55, 60 degrees, and we're going more into harnesses. This is about a standard on our boat anymore. 2 hooks, 2 number 3.5 Colorados with floats on them. I didn't say that about our smile blades, but they do have floats on them also. We'll run this bait right here. I'll run that all summer long, and run it behind inline weights. Super versatile. You can run it 1 mile an hour, clear up into almost 2 miles an hour, and still be pretty effective with it. The floats are key. That helps with zebra mussels. If you drag the bottom at all in most of our lakes anymore, you're going to get zebra mussels on your baits. So if you put a full night crawler on one of these baits here, these are called crush 'em harnesses. If you put a full crawler on there, it will settle and drag on the bottom, but it's so light that it doesn't tend to pick up the zebra mussels. Where if you were running, say, a traditional style harness, wire harness, and it drags on the bottom, it's going to drag pretty hard, and you're probably going to pick up zebra mussels. So, like I said, these are crush 'em harnesses. I run these things pretty much most of the summer here out of Erie, Pennsylvania. I'm running them from mid-May till September, October, and there's another color. We got lots of different colors and patterns on them, but those are two key ones there. That pink and purple are both real hot colors for our area. So we also have number 4s, same deal. These double hooks, floats with a single number 4 blade. These, we call them crush 'ems also. These custom painted blades. You see that copper on the back of that watermelon blade. Copper is really good in the eastern basin, central and eastern basin of Lake Erie. And like I said, it's got floats, so it's going to help keep that up off the bottom. They're going to run a lot of these on inline weights in the summertime. Really good bait. Usually I'll just let the fish tell me what they want with that. I'll have some, the double-bladed crush 'ems and some of the number 4s on there. And for the guys who like to be able to change their blades, these actually do have clevises that you can take the blade off and swap it out with another blade. So with these and all of my harnesses tied on mono, that's actually fluorocarbon, so 20-pound test fluorocarbon. Another style of harness that we run a lot through most of the summertime, probably more when the water's up around 60 and above, are these spoons with slow death hooks. And this bait is probably, of all the harnesses, has the most action on it. If you thread a half a night crawler on that slow death hook and run that, it has tremendous amount of action, and we catch a lot of fish on that. It's really versatile. Probably could run it down into, like, I have a guy up in Michigan that says he runs them at 0.5, 0.7 a lot, and I run them from 1 to 2 miles an hour all the time, and I can mix them right in with my regular worm harnesses. They run all the same speed and do great. And some days those are the key, just kind of let the fish tell you what they want. And I have that same rig. I have it in with a double hook on it. This rig, we call these whack-ems. I've been running these for a number of years. And my first mate, he has his own boat, and he runs a lot of the same stuff as I do. And when I've asked him to run the spoons with slow death hooks to test different spoons out for me, different patterns, what have you, he's kind of hesitant to run that slow death hook. So I tied him up, these ones with that double hook on it, and what we found is you catch just as many fish on those. Maybe they're going to let the fish tell you what they want. It doesn't have quite as much action, but it has a lot of action on it. And what's the beauty of this versus like some of my rigs and some other rigs out there is that it's tied on fluorocarbon, and it has that tiny little swivel on there. So there's not a lot of extra weight on the back of that rig. And that any additional weight on the back of the spoon, it will take some of the action off of the spoon itself. So if you have a rig with wire on it or like treble hooks and that kind of stuff on it, it can tend to kill some of the action of that spoon. So this is a really, really good rig, very versatile. And what you'll find is, like, these compared to some of the rigs out there with wire on them, that fluorocarbon is just as tough as a wire, with the exception of maybe if you're fishing someplace where there's pike and toothy critters and they're cutting your line. Pike might be able to cut 20-pound test fluorocarbon. Probably it's going to be rare, but it could happen. And but that fluorocarbon doesn't kink up like wire does. So great bait, very versatile. Finally, I just actually brought those out in 2026. We put them out on the market, but we've been running those for a number of years. The next bait I want to talk about, when we'll move in, I'll use these spoon harnesses. This is what got me into this business, and kind of a cool bait. It's a spoon and has a full worm harness on behind it. It's tied with nylon coated stainless steel wire leader. Number 2/0 hooks on them. They're bigger hooks. I tend to have the guys over in the Eastern Basin, Central Basin, they want big hooks on them. Guys over in the Western Basin and a lot of the smaller lakes, they want the smaller hooks, like number 2 hooks on most of my other rigs. And there again, like you're trying to keep weight off of those crush 'em harnesses because they're right down on the bottom. These spoon harnesses, I have 2 different sizes of them. And they work really good at a little faster speeds. I tend to run these behind dipsy divers and on downriggers, but I do run them on inline weights when the fish are suspended. If you get these things going like up over 1.5 miles an hour, a lot of times the spoon doesn't have a lot of action on it. It's just adding to making it a much larger profile, but it also keeps the whole bait from starting to rotate. If you get going too fast with some harnesses, the whole harness will rotate. So the spoon harnesses are good because you can really cruise along fast. If you're running crankbaits on the planer boards, you can run these spoon harnesses behind dipsies and have some live bait out there in the water at the same time while you're running crankbaits. So you can get away with that. And I 2 different sizes of those. Both work well. I tend to use the large ones more. Big bait, big fish. I've had some really good success with those in late season when our walleyes are really suspended out over deep water. I've had some, like in October, when the water starts getting pretty cold, back down into 60, 65. I've had some really good days with those large spoon harnesses. But another time they work really well. And when we first started fishing up on Lake Erie and we're testing different things out, and I've just tried these things out and made them up to see how they'd work, is we used to run dipsies in 25 to about 45 feet of water, and we would basically set those dipsies right on the bottom. We'd just have them just straight from the bottom, as close as you could get. Every once in a while you bump bottom and they wrap up, but just try to get them right down there hugging the bottom. That was our mainstay back then. We caught lots and lots of fish with those things, and I think it's just that added bigger profile. And if you do hit, if you're right around that 1.5 mile an hour mark, they do have quite a bit of action on them. The key is if you're trying to hug the bottom and you're running like a bottom bouncer, you don't want a bait that's heavy, like say the spoon harness with wire. You want something that's light and that's going to help basically keep you up off the bottom. So that crush them with the floats on it, that's key. I wouldn't suggest running a spoon harness behind a bottom bouncer when you're basically bouncing off bottom all the time. You're keeping it right down there. So that's how we do it. And a lot of different things out there. I'm proud of my product. Very durable. You won't lose paint on any of my stuff. You can drag those spoons right in the dirt and you'll never lose paint. Very durable. I know I've had some crush 'em harnesses that have probably caught over 50 fish and no floats left on them. They just chewed the floats completely off of them and they don't break. Very durable. Actually, I was looking at this blueberry muffin spoon with slow death hook. You can see there's no paint left on that hook. I pulled this one out of my boat. Paint's fine on the spoon, but no paint left on the hook. And actually, you can see I even straightened that hook back out a little bit. So very durable, very long-lasting products. That's Mike with Mike's Walleye Rigs. You can find any of my products out on mikeswalleyerigs.com and follow us on Facebook. And we also have a new podcast called Walleyes and Adventures throughout the Grape region. So check us out. Thanks.
Hunting, fishing, loving every day. That's a prayer that a country boy prays. Thank God he made me this way. Hunting, fishing, loving every day. Early in the morning, late in the evening, I'm getting red dirt rich, Flint River paid. Hunting, fishing, loving every day.